What is up, everyone? And thank you for checking out Don't Say the F Word. We are a pro wrestling and combat sports podcast. We do not use the F word when we talk about professional wrestling. And hey, let's get started. Let's hit this intro music from I Hate Vonnie.
Got it out the mud, now I'm swimming in this dope boy, I'm baby. COD, double up, hands on the Kimbo, the clip on the extendo, the stick that I'm clutching in a kendo. Count to three, then I ring the bell, make them hands get the race. The cadence so raw, bro, the mic flow on nitro, it bang like some thunder, it's no wonder. Got it out the mud, now I'm swimming.
Everyone, we're going to be live right here with Wade, MMA veteran, undefeated professional boxer, former contestant on Tough Enough, former contestant on The Ultimate Fighter, all-around king of combat sports. Working on getting him in here. I gotta plug this thing in. I don't know. It's never easy when I'm not in the actual studio. Jeremy, you may have to help me with this one.
Hands on the
I think I almost got it. It is saying he's unable to join. Maybe I gotta plug this thing in. Oh, what do I gotta do here? Maybe now I got it. Maybe now I got Jeremiah Riggs in. There we go.
There we go. I'm in.
How are you today, sir?
Good, man. What's up?
I'm living the dream. My name is Mark the Monster. I assist Jeremy on this podcast. He thinks he's in charge because he's bigger than me, but I'm the head monster in charge. I'm the leader of the Puppet World Order, PWO.
That's what's up. Hell yeah.
For life. Just wanted to welcome you to the show. This is Don't Say the F Word. We're a pro wrestling combat sports podcast. We do not use the F word when we talk about professional wrestling. You shouldn't let your friends use it either. This interview is brought to you by Loco Luchas, pro wrestling card game. Everyone get out there, get you this. Tons of fun. Even a puppet can play it. Jeremiah, what's up, man?
What's up, bro?
Why can't I just stay on? Okay. You did your thing, dude. You did your thing. Glad Mark got you welcomed in.
Yeah, thank you.
We're in a different locale right now than normal for the show because I broke my foot, so I can't get up to the steps and get to the studio. So
Keep it raw.
Yeah, you got to keep making it happen one way or another. I got my knee scooter. I can get around on a single floor, but steps, my big ass ain't doing steps on the broken foot. But how are you doing? Oh, I got illegal brother-in-law Joe in there making fun of the broken foot.
Yeah, good. No, I'm doing good, man. It's been a good week being back from Canada. Sealed the deal up there. Had a hell of opponent, Sonny Smith. Had a hell of a time, especially an arrival, of course. But man, over and all, man, I'm doing good, man. I'm just staying on the grind every day since I've been back, man. It's just feel like there's more work to be done for sure.
Well, man, you looked phenomenal in that fight. I know there was some time off, messed the knee up, had some time away, but you talk about coming back from an injury and making a statement. That was, I mean, you got a little cut up, but bare knuckle, that's going to happen. Right. You're going to have some. But man, that just really nothing but a dominant performance on that return. How did camp feel coming into that?
Man, good. Leading up to it, it was a lot of things. Like I said, just even more adversities and just say getting there, man. Just coming into the fight. Having the 2 year layout. I'm not saying I'm not gonna say dealing with the injury, but yeah, dealing with it, getting everything back in order. Just restructure. It was a big restructure deal there with me. Especially just staying loyal, giving it the time. That was one of my biggest things. I knew this was gonna take time, but I didn't go astray, man. I kept in touch with BKFC. They knew what I was doing, and like I said, they always treated me good. And of course, it's just the call of duty, man. I try to stay ready for a moment's notice because I speak I say on the behalf of, setting an example for others to follow, man. I'm not, there ain't no entitlement over here in my world. Look, you got to stay ready at all times, even I think if you are one of the best, which I perceive myself as, and, like I say, that top 10, I'm not going to sit there and say I can't climb the ladder or give myself a humble knowing of where I'm at. You know what I'm saying? I believe anybody from there on up. I mean, I can set a performance to make my way to that title shot, man. The camp going into this was good. Same got me and Alan Belcher. We always link up. That's what we do for each other. We did a little different. We kind of got away from where we usually go. We went down to Kill Cliff FC. Of course, I followed him. I didn't really say I had anything set in stone, but I told myself when I come down there, I'm big on manifesting this shit. And I told myself when I went down there, dude, I'm not coming back empty-handed. There was a lot of things I did, a lot of adversities I come into getting into this camp. Not I don't have to say, oh, well, I did this and did that, but like going into the cattle I've been raising for 10 years. I mean, I sold out of a lot of stuff just to make this, say a dream a reality. Not that I haven't been living it, but there's also choices that you make in life, which end to take sacrifices. Every action has a reaction, and them kind of things. So just staying fresh on my mind and just manifesting it, man. Just believing in what we're putting out. What I'm giving out, what I'm taking in. I just believe in it. Full 360, man.
I mean, if you're out there putting in the work, you can only see the rewards. And your combat sports career is it's the stuff of legends. I mean, you are the perfect athlete to be on a podcast like ours that is pro wrestling and combat sports because you are the guy who's done damn near everything there is to do in combat sports.
Yeah.
You've been the MMA guy. You are the bare knuckle guy, and in the in between, you pro boxer, pro wrestling. What started your journey in combat sports? If I'm right, you started early 2000s,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
It was like early 2006, just prior after I got out of Ranger Battalion, it was really just kind of, man, I don't want to say maybe it found me. I never really just say pursued it. I was just there with a friend, got into it, hey man, look, I'm gonna do this. All right, cool. I was just kind of like, well, I ain't gonna let you do that alone. Let's give it a shot, and just kind of it was kind of a thing where we've always been, skill set or sports. We've always been active here. We played baseball, football, stuff like that growing up. So I'm very competitive. I got a lot of buddies who are just competitive, but we always was there for each other. So tagging along, it was just kind of like, hey man, I'm here for you. Let's do this. And going into the amateur career, after one fight, it was like, oh shit, that was crazy. And then it was kind of just trickled on me because as everybody kept saying, well, when's the next one? I was like, I don't know. I didn't, like I said, I never had a shovel digging this course, but as I kept on going and really the support probably more than anything is I say what really entitled me to that journey, other than just other than finding myself and really figuring out like, hey, this is what I really want to do, or the path of my life of going, man, what's the purpose? What's my purpose? I think I've had multi purposes, and I've had a real blessed opportunity, like you said, to do so many things. I mean, I know on paper, if you looked at the top tier things that I've done in each and every sport. Probably ain't too many people that's just been down that road, and I understand that, and that's cool. Like I said, I've been blessed. Some people say, or so I tell some people, hey man, I've just been blessed to have a really cool, cool lifestyle of being fortunate enough, healthy enough to do all these things that I say when I looked at it as a kid, going back in that, dad was, hey man, what do you want to be when you grow up? I was just like, I just want to be a professional athlete. I just want to be a badass, like what, why can't you do all of it? So that was kind of one thing that I guess just lived on through me as a kid growing up. I never really said, hey, I'm gonna grow up. What you want to be? Hell, I ain't growed up yet, so I guess I'm still gonna be all the things I want to be.
Ah, man, I get that. I mean, that refusal to grow up, and we're the same age. We're both 41. That not growing up, that's hard. That's how I'm crippled up right now with a broken foot because I won't grow up. I just want to do dumb shit.
Well, I say something to myself. I say to other people, if you keep up with time, time keeps up with you. I'm a real firm believer in that, man. Like some days, it's not like I don't know the days. It's not like I got some mental health. It's like I forget. But man, I'm just here. When I wake up, I know I'm blessed with another moment to do something great or to be that better person than I was yesterday. It's probably took me a while. I ain't gonna say probably took me a long time to figure that out. But there is things in figuring it out in life that's really dictated my path, and I knew I've been very few to say swallow the pill that can't be swallowed or carry the baggage on my back that most people can't. I took pride in that, and I've always knew that, hey man, God built me just a little bit different than most.
Yeah, man, I like that. You keep up with time, time will keep up with you. I like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's simple. I mean, if you really think about it, some people living right, just spinning it in their minds, just going crazy, just thinking, oh man, it's a time here. And I tell some of my guys used to in the trucking business, just said this a lifestyle. It's not, it's like necessarily like a job or anything. But I always say, where's the checker flag? There's none. We're not racing, and even in that kind of racing, I used to do drag. I ain't never seen no checker flag. Maybe a light come on at the end of that, but I mean, I just never really kept up with it. I mean, sometimes you'll hear me talk like, man, not long ago. Sometimes not long ago, I really think about it, it's like, man, that's 3, 4, 5 years ago. But I think that just living that life and just kind of the things that I believe in, the things that I've followed or learned. You know what I mean? Like it's kind of like someone asked me, man, how many fights you lost? Man, I ain't never lost anything. I ain't never lost anything because I learned, you got to learn and then you got to apply it. Because if you don't apply it, you're spinning your wheels. Everybody knows that.
And that's one of those things. I did MMA for a few years. I was in the gym training, and I'd always talk about every time if you get submitted, if you get caught, that's a learning opportunity. The worst thing is that guy who goes out there and is the bully in the gym. No one in his gym can touch him. No one in his gym can submit him. He hits the amateurs. He goes undefeated in his amateur career, hits the pros, gets fed to a wolf, and can't handle that defeat.
Yes. And sometimes it's just learning, and some people ain't learned about themselves, and they also ain't learned humbleness. Some people, a lot of people, man, you're a little too humble. Man, I'm not too humble, man. I don't believe you can be too humble, but I'm very, very distinctive on what's going on. You know what I mean? I mean, I do understand it, probably on a higher level than others, but I try not to lose that either. Through my mental, spiritual and physical way, I try to just keep on climbing that ladder. Making me a better version of me. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about, man. It's just you looking at yourself in the mirror and figuring out, like, hey, man, this is the guy I want to be. And if not, man, then some people can't look at that guy, but you do have to look at him and say, man, I don't know, maybe spitting at somebody's face and say, not today. You can be your worst own enemy.
Yeah, that's for sure. I mean, I think we've all known people who just can't get out of their own way. They can't grow. They can't evolve. And, I think, you look back in life, and if you're the same person you were 20 years ago, boy, that's terrible. You ain't grown. You ain't learned.
You got to put yourself around them people. Everybody everybody's heard me say that, probably hear it a lot lately too, is that, just putting yourself around that certain group of people dictates you a lot on where you're at, and a lot of what you're doing. Sometimes you gotta look around. And I say just look at yourself, but you gotta look around your shoulders, figure out who has your back. You might be looking standing there alone. You just might be doing that. So you got to learn how to fundamentally police yourself up, and then police the others, because I've seen a lot of people with a lot of people understanding them just saying, yeah, that's good, you're doing good. No, you're not doing good every day, so it's the hustle, it's scrap. If it was that easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah, that's for sure. As you look back, you got started in MMA. You made a transition to pro wrestling. How did you get hooked up with Dutch Mantel?
Man, actually, one of my oldest friends, we actually started just like this interview, and then we just kind of ended up bonding a friendship in the fighting world, and ended up helping me do some managing. I've kept myself very free, independent through a lot of my career, but also had help along the way. A very good team. That's all I tell you. Building a team is very hard.
Yeah.
Loyalty, trust, honesty, them kind of things. So just amongst building that team, man, it kind of rolled around, because of course I was a wrestling fan. Don't get me wrong. Growing up, Stone Cold and all them guys or whatnot, and man, he just said, "Hey, man, what about your thought about pro wrestling?" If it was to show itself, why not? Of course, it's the opportunities. I was on opportunities. If there's a door opens, I think I can walk into it, and hey, why not try it? But I'm not gonna quit on it. One thing that I teach my guys is, like, you can't ever dictate something and starting something and not finish it. You can't just go and go half-ass or go halfway, and then all of a sudden, I didn't like that. This wasn't for me. Did you finish? Did you finish it though? Did you finish? My biggest thing is finish it, then dictate at the fucking end. Hey, that was for me. That was for, but at least you finished it. Then maybe your opinion actually is more justifiable in that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I mean, you got started in pro wrestling, got to be on Tough Enough.
Yep.
And I think you might be the only person who's been on Tough Enough and The Ultimate Fighter. I don't think anyone else has done that.
Not that I know of, and in the transition, like you talk about, man, I mean, it was very, very different. But I did understand, going back to the Dutch Mantel after I got like involved with kind of like TNA was the first deal to go to. I met my guy, I said, man, I used to do a lot of training in Tennessee, so that's how I kind of met Dutch, met him. But man, our even our stuff, it was kind of short lived, but I very, very much took note. It was on a fast pace. We knew that. So I got to like just do some basics. I just got to sit there, talk with him, and really just sitting there looking at the ring. We didn't really, man, Dutch was very old school. I didn't just walk up in there and just get up in the ring. Right there. We talked, we had our meetings, and then kind of flowed a little bit, just really basics. And the thing that I took from that, I really took and ran with it. Like, okay, man, I'm not saying, hey, man, that was easy. Maybe easier for me than others. Because I mean, even going into the wrestling world, I was going against 10-year veterans and stuff. But just knowing, like, hey, man, I'm an athlete. There's really that I put in my mind. There's really nothing that I won't try, but I don't believe there's nothing that I can't do and be successful at. So just going in that mindset, mindset's everything. I knew, like, hey, man, I'm gonna give this hell and do it to the full ability, to the fullest. So my transition from the MMA to the pro wrestling, I believe I took it in because I took it seriously, but I soaked it up. I was green, but I didn't have no bad habits. There was no bad habits for me. Everything that I was learning, well, that's what you guys are teaching me. So the basics for me were just the basics.
Yeah. And I think from that, that's, I think having no bad habits is great. It's kind of, you look at, like, if you're teaching grappling to kids, it's great to teach kids how to fight and defend themselves because they have no prejudgment of their ability. He's trying to teach someone who's 35, they have an idea in their head of, I think I know what I'm doing.
Well,
You got to go back and.
Well, it's taking the the whole gimmick of like taking somebody, taking somebody that's had some experience, right, in anything. Well, that's not necessarily saying that person has the experience that you need, because bad habits, someone taught a little different than what you taught. You still got to, that comes with open mind. You've got to be able to break the mold and go, man, I don't know shit, and accept that. I've been able to go to so many different gyms and so many different coaches in my career because I went in there with an open mind. I promise you, anybody that's ever coached me or helped me coach or helped me in the journey of where I'm at now, I'm an open book, man. I never went in there thinking, hey, this is right. Even if I was taught this way, well, I took that, but if somebody was correct me, I did it and understood it their way, but still had maybe a little twist of me in it. So, and of course, that comes with knowledge. That comes with being around coaching, and then all of a sudden turning into that coach, which I've actually had a chance to do a little bit of. That's how I sealed it from saying, man, oh, I know how to do this. No, you don't know shit. You know what I mean? You don't know
Yeah.
nothing. So when you take that mindset of going, hey, man, I'm fixing to soak this up, because not every coach is different. The morals, the standards of coaching of at that level, they're all the same, I believe. And all the greatest coaches that I've been around, all the greatest fighters I've been around, in wrapped up in one, very much similar. But styles are different. People are different. The terminology is different. But you got to be an open mind. You got to be a sponge. That's one thing. Some of my early coaches, in my younger, going into t-ball, football, stuff like that, you gotta be a sponge, son. You gotta soak that shit up. So every time that I had an opportunity with somebody, man, I'm all ears. Hey, I don't know nothing. What do you know? I'm like, I don't know shit. I'm a white belt to everybody.
Yeah. No, it's taking advantage of those opportunities underneath a learning tree, right?
Yeah, man, you got to, it's not, taking, the word taking advantage. Yeah, taking advantage for the good, but also giving the good back. Um, you got to take advantage of them opportunities, and you do got to soak it up, because someone's time given to you, is very special. And some of the very special people in my life that give me that time, I understand that time. I soak that up because I believe giving my time away is very valuable. And you run into them people that aren't appreciative of that time of somebody. And when you do realize that, man, of course, I'm very disciplined about it, and I'm very humbled about it, because I believe, man, anybody. I learn from so many people, and even outside of fighting. This goes into life. It's not just all about fighting. So any opportunity, and even if somebody was to give me I know people all the time that don't know a liquor from fighting, and hey, man, you ought to try this. I'm just listening. Okay. Yeah. All right, cool. Sometimes it's justifiable, and then sometimes it's the same thing that you're reminding yourself. And it's like, wow, because here's the deal. From the outside perspective looking in, your eyes are not seeing what I see. So justifiable with that. Hey, man, what did you see? I ask people all the time that don't dictate, don't have no form of coaching, have none. Hey, man, what did you think? What did you see? And I have very much picked up little things from, say, fans or friends, like, man, you look good at doing this, because, it all looks good, especially when you're winning, but in that term is I take the opportunity to listen, because sometimes just listening is key. Hey, man, oh, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you're right. There's definitely something to learn from the people who may not be an expert in the area they're trying to give you advice in. You look at time in the gym and sparring, and sometimes there's always something to take away from working with that new guy, work with that white belt on the mats, or spar with that guy who maybe not he doesn't know what to do, so he's not going to counter things correctly, and it's going to be an unorthodox situation, and you kind of have to go on the fly. You can't go muscle memory.
No, and that's very true. Everything you're saying is very true, because sometimes you got to bring it down that level. Pretty much remind yourself, or just to be a little humble. Me giving out some information, man. I mean, I'm in the gym. you see a amateur guy or whatever, and people ask you a question, I give that time away because somebody give me that time once before. I'm really big on that. So, but also you can learn from styles. Not everybody's going to throw that same punch. I've learned a lot by just sitting back and just saying, hey man, yeah. Well, what did like rolling with a white belt? Well, they might have something just a little different, but they're not yet polished. So it's like, oh wow, hey, your style's a little different. I ain't never seen that before. Does that feel comfortable to you? Yeah, this is the way I do it. Hey, that's really not a bad way. So sometimes I've picked up like that on different forms of people, because like I said, it's an outside perspective.
Yeah, yeah, and you can just kind of get to see things from a different angle and from a spot that you can never really put yourself in too.
Yeah, I mean that's just kind of being a master of just kind of being the master of disguise or whatever. You're willing you're willing to listen and take up the time just to soak it in. Just kind of take it in and figure it out.
So you seem like a guy very open-minded, very much a lifelong learner. As you've journeyed in combat sports, and you start MMA training will clearly give you a bit of a assist in pro wrestling training because you're learning to fall, you're learning to take contact, you learn those things that you come into pro wrestling where it's learning to make contact without hurting your opponent. Then you come back to MMA and what skills from the world of pro wrestling and that way of thinking were you able to bring back and polish up your MMA skills?
Man, really, really just a lot of grit. A lot of people don't realize, man, like that's very physical. Being very physical was very different. I mean, respectively, dude. You can't say. WWE. Or professional wrestling. Let's just say professional. Just scale it to WWE, AEW, any of these guys, Lucha wrestling, the whole 9 yards, man. I mean, it's a skill. It's dancing. It's a different skill. It's a different bump. I mean, you are taking some say high level punishment. I learned a lot from it. A lot of just a different skill set, of course. It never really bothered me, just say transitioning. I don't think like I picked up any bad habits and then like took one from the other. But very different skill set, very different polished dance. A lot of the moves. I mean, the moves, the moves in professional wrestling, it's real. I mean, nothing's fake about it. Dude. I don't care what the storyline is. You get slapped in the fucking chest, dude, you feel it. You know what I mean? These guys are physical, and then it's like they call it taking a bump, man. I mean, dude, look, I was beat up in that show. I mean, there was a lot of adversity going through that show. I mean, bruised lungs. I mean, I remember several times coughing up blood and just being like, shit, this is what it is. A pulled groin. I think I did one time on the show. But I mean, the show don't stop. You just gotta grit it out and go. So that with that, kind of really brought back into that realm of say MMA, wrestling. That grit, the hustle, the desire, that no give up attitude. You got to have that. And then athleticism. I mean, that is a very athletic sport, but very different, especially how they do their work. Let's just call that work.
Yeah.
It's a grind. It really is. I tell people like, hey man, I respect these guys. Like they're athletes. Some of them are super athletes. You
Yeah.
don't run up in there and do a 15-minute match and just it's not. It's really choreographed, but at a very very high tempo, very physical high level tempo,
Yeah.
very tempo. That tempo and that's deep. I mean, it's just like fighting, dude. You're gonna get banged up. I mean, anything can happen. I mean, one little move, man, you'll feel that to the extent. So I mean, it is just like physical. I mean, it's very physical.
Uh, do you keep up with our product at all? You watch WWE, AEW, any of it now?
Man, man, I'm gonna be honest with you, man. I'm not gonna say I'm not a TV person. I do stay pretty active in what I do. I try to stay. I do stay away from the TV, man. Growing up, I mean, we had it, but man, I was, man, and we just, fortunately, you had to take your ass outside. And by the time them street lights popped in, you better have your ass home. So, I still dictate that with my kids, man. It's like, hey, man, get out of that, get out there, get outside. You need to be out there learning something or doing something, give them responsibilities. I think that's a little lost nowadays, because technology has taken over, but you still got to have that instillment, I believe, in the generations to come, because hey, man, if you turn the power switch off, what you gonna do? Sit inside?
Yeah.
I'm not really big on that. So I do catch things here and there. WrestleMania or something comes on, boom, or watching some highlights, on Instagram or Facebook. So I mean, I do have little follows that I do keep up with, but I don't really keep up with. It's even fighting now. Fighting's the same way. I mean, I watch UFC events. I watch. I still watch mixed martial arts events with my buddies. Definitely keep up the BKFC, of course, stuff like that. But I guess I'm not really a TV guy. I mean, I like movies. I'm a big movie guy.
I get that, man. It's crazy whenever you think about, whenever we were younger, that mindset of go outside, be home when the streetlights come on.
Yeah.
Our parents had no idea what the hell we were doing, where we were
Man,
at. We were just out having fun,
nobody
being kids.
kidnapping our ass. They'd bring us right back,
They would have
man.
brought us back.
Yeah, that's how we always grew up, man. It was like, hey, ain't nobody kidnapping our ass. They'd find out real quick. They dump these kids out
And
here.
this kid's annoying. Now I'm not keeping him. He's not going
Yeah.
to be. He doesn't carry a high value. We're not going to be able to get to him.
And to me, it's not really much change. I mean, there's a lot of things that have changed, but I've always been on saying morals and characteristics of who we are and stuff like that. The standards should never change. If you want to participate, that's fine, but that don't mean you get a trophy. Winning is a very, very low percentage in our life. If you really want to go across the board of growing up, I mean, think about winning. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Of our winners. Go from elementary all the way through your high school, state championships, or just any kind of like winning. It's if you really, really just bring it down off, use your head. Damn, that's a low percent. That's a low percent. It really is. A lot of people don't look at that, but you can't judge winning and losing. Put it in the mind of like, hey man, everybody's a winner. No, not everybody is. You got to kind of figure that out.
Yeah. I think about there was a lot of it, in our generation and those that followed is the idea, you could be anything you wanted to be. You could, and everyone's a winner because everyone can be what they want to be. So if you want to be a winner, you can be a winner. And you're right. It's not realistic because a lot of folks aren't going to put in the work to be a winner.
No,
they
just want to be a part of it.
Yeah.
And hey, sometimes hey, we need them too. It takes just say all kinds to make things happen. That's true, but some people dictate it a little different, but being a part of it it can be just as good. I mean, it's like in my team, man. I have people that are there, and then I'm sharing the win just as much with them as it's their win, even if they didn't know it. I remind people, say, hey man, we won. It's not like all me.
Yeah.
It's friends, family. It's a whole big pot, man. You're cooking and you're brewing it, and sometimes you put some ingredients in, and the next time you're gonna take them ingredients out.
Yeah. You look at those. You look at a fight gym, and there's a lot of key components in that training element of those people who. Sure, you got guys in the gym they're never going to be the man in the arena. They're never going to be the guy who's out there going for world titles, fight on the big stage. They're just coming into the gym because they like to put in a little work and they enjoy the atmosphere and they enjoy getting a little sparring in. And sometimes that guy can teach you something. He doesn't know he caught you, but he caught you with a combo that you didn't see coming, and that data is stored in there, and it has you ready. Next time someone tries to hit you with that, you're good to go. And that guy has no idea what he contributed, but he got to be a part of it.
It's like going with the white belt, man. Hey, man, you learn from everybody. Every opponent, every teacher, everybody has something to give at every level.
Yeah.
And most of the times, it's just starting at the bottom, working your way up top. I get that, because even when you say that, like going with with the say one of my amateur guys or a lower level guy, man, you sometimes have to reteach your mind at things. So you're coaching, you're steadily evolving, you're steadily keeping that rotation in your head, but through your other guys, man, hey, you might have been sleeping on something, and then what happened, oh man, the white belt almost got you, hey, but then you're leveling up your other guy, so then it's like, okay, shit, I know, hey, I gotta be sharp up here, I need to just keep sharpening my skills. Iron sharpens iron, man. Everybody knows that. So, but sometimes you do have to go. I say go down and then work yourself up, because there's still a teaching level there where you self-taught um, in them different realms of going with the white belt, blue belt, purple belt, black belt, however, whatever color you want to put on it. From this level to that level, man, I've learned. I take that in instance of trying to learn everything I can from everybody.
In your journey of learning through the fight game, you got some got pro boxing under your belt back in BKFC. What are you looking at for the rest of 2024? Solely, you looking to just do BKFC the rest of the year? Or are you going to get some more pro boxing in?
So, I'll tell you the lead up to the box. Going back into when we first got to BKFC, me and Belcher, Belcher did a lot of boxing at first. It was kind of like, using that tool to help keep you active, boxing with the gloves, but it's very different. So whenever I got injured, my experience with it was I knew I always wanted to do, like I say, a couple, but I really didn't have a lot of, I didn't really have a lot of desire to really go down the boxing road. I wanted to do it to experience it for the master of the art of war, and in one of them things dictating, like, kind of being that coach or being that master of the skill of knowing, like, hey, I need to do this, especially while I have the time, especially while I'm in this deep, and I need to do it from my mental, from my own perspectives of, hey, it's totally different, real just straight pro boxing. So, but also going into that, BKFC, I reached out to them when after I started getting the injury a lot better and healed. I was like, hey guys, if y'all don't mind, I really want to do this for me, but I need to do it for us. And trying to say, hey, let me get in the ring. This is real. It's not it wasn't no amateur fight. This is real. It goes on this is a real fight. So going into that setting was good for me, because I needed something to put some pressure on, not on me, but put some pressure on that knee and figure out, say, hey, are we ready for battle? Even though I felt like I was. So then going into that pro boxing match, man, I ain't gonna lie, dude, I learned a lot every damn round. Like, it was so different. And then I can even remember myself, like, kind of like in the plumbing, or like some of the stuff I would be using BKFC, and then I was like, oh yeah, and then I remember the referee time going, hey, no fun. I was like, yeah, my bad, I'm good. So I was kind of seeing a lot of holes to use and not to use, if that makes sense. Not saying like really holes in my game, but holes in the game going, oh man, I could have just got really jacked up there, So in my mind, through the boxing fight, I was almost coaching myself, relearning the skills that I've been taught, but also understanding the sport. To me, that was huge, because even just doing that one, I was like, I remember talking with Belcher once more after that and go, hey man, what you? I was like, dude, I've learned everything that I thought, and I learned everything that I didn't think maybe that was, hey, it worked or it didn't, just them kind of examples. So doing that really opened my mind. It really opened my mind for the better for me as a fighter. Going further into that, man, like I said, I'm just staying loyal to the game of BKFC, of bare knuckle. I know that that's my path. I don't want to stray far from that. I'm not going to stray from it at all. They know, like, hey man, this is the run of my legacy of doing everything that I've done in my life, that this is what's built me to that. I mean, every sport, MMA, pro wrestling, bull riding, range, everything I've done in my life, I believe, has led me up to this mentally and physically.
That's one of those things I've always thought is that every step we're taking is a step forward, and it's going to get us where we're supposed to go.
Yeah,
It's
for sure, and it does. I mean, I never, oh man, I never really. I talk to my bull riding coach all the time, man. We're just really good friends, David Berry, up there in Locust Grove, Oklahoma. I got to give a shout out to him, monsterbull.com, man. I told him right back years ago when we was doing this, I was bull riding at the time. I was up in Missouri, Chillicothe, even now Dutch Mantel, and we kind of was rekindling all this. It just kind of was like a fire, man. But looking back into it, I was like, man, without that, I'm not saying that I wouldn't have been ready or done BKFC, but man, on a mental note, I was like, everything I did in them last 8 years of being absent from combat sports set me up for this challenge, set me up for this journey in my life. And man, I give a lot of props to that, just doing that, sitting out, and doing that whole different thing in life. That really grew me as a person. Really some self finding there. I did some hellacious soul searching. Really got deep within myself, and because of that, man, here I am. Here I am, and rekindling that fire, and of just going into that journey of saying, man, this is what it is, and I'm not looking at it like, oh man, I wish it would have been earlier. I mean, because it's now. It's here. It's now. It's this part of my life. Some people look at the oh, you're 40, man. That don't dictate what I'm doing. I mean, it don't matter if they're 18 or 41 or 51. Hey, the guys. I'm at that level of still producing masterpieces. I'm still at the prime level in my life. I've been very fortunate to take care of myself to succeed the unbeknowing things that can't be done, and what some people believe is like, oh man, it's even like going all the way back to the New York fight. And I like bringing this fight up because it changed me as a fighter, which was in New York when I fought Tierney. What a masterpiece for both of us. I mean, both of us on each side. I understood the sides too of that fight, of the adversity on him, the adversity on me, the styles, what it all came together, what we were both battling from in each and every round, not only for just each other but ourselves. I got it the whole way around. I really did. So, moving forward into that, it's really dictated on finding myself and saying, hey man, this is it, and every action I've had's had a reaction, but I only put it in not giving myself the choice and making them ultimate sacrifices to do what I'm doing.
you know, you look at the length of your career in combat sports, and you look at something like that New York fight with Terry and the I don't want to say brutality, but I don't have a better word.
I know what you mean by that. Yeah, for sure.
Like your durability. What do you accredit? I mean, you threw bull riding into the mix, capping off the beginning, middle, coming into you're painting your masterpiece in this BKFC run. You throw so many things in there, so much punishment and stress on your body. What do you accredit your durability to? Like you're a just durable guy, man. You can take it.
I said this the other day to some of my older group of people, and so about it. I said, "Hey, man, look, I just understand God built me a little different."
That's for sure.
And I give that credit. I give that credibility to that, and knowing that I understood. I understand that. Some people really didn't. I mean, it is, brutal, but life is. Life's been real brutal. But
Yeah.
I've took that in consideration, and man, it's just no guts, no glory. I say what I mean. I mean what I say. And when I say I'm coming, you better wipe your lip off, boy. You know what I mean? So I do give that credibility of just just the understanding is just like, man, God built me different, and I'm gonna use that in His favor, working through me to give back something that, like I say, even if it was a chance once given to me or whatever, man, I'm arms wide open, and I take that humbleness into my heart and really push that forward, to give to others, even if others didn't give it into me. Is it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think built different is an understatement. I take a look at, hearing you talk about how you're dedicated to learning the craft and being able to paint that masterpiece. And I look at the fight with Sonny and I compare that to fight with Terry. And, you throw in that the boxing happened in between, and you were you were a different fighter. There was a lot. You were just as aggressive, just as moving forward, but you seemed looser. You seemed like you were in that groove with Sonny. And there was a point early on. I mean, granted, the fight wasn't long, but whenever he tried to unload a combo on you, there was a point where you changed levels and essentially headbutted his fist and broke up his combo. Like that movement, that's such just a slight level change, and his fist tag, and he stopped, and he took 2 steps back, and you came right in on him.
Yeah, so and strategically, we actually work that for me. I say stylistically, styles make fights. I do, and it's funny because it's like, wow, here's another one of them UK boxers. What do you think about that? And I'm like, hey man, that's great because I think my style versus the boxer styles is very intriguing.
Okay.
I'm not consider myself as a boxer. I mean, I can box. I can box any of them. If you really, if they wanted to stand at bay and do that, hey, that's cool. But just sometimes, ultimately, my style is very different, and I do know that. Yeah, breaking up them shots, changing that level. But I also going back and looking at it. Yes, I was very poised. I was ready. I had a different look in my I carried on a whole different demeanor in this fight, but still technically better than the boxer.
Yeah.
And I still know, and that's the growth, the growth level that I try to put out is, you know, I do know my style can serve a lot of trouble for a very vast amount of skill set, because I believe I can very open my skill set that different level of in the smaller ring, in the bigger ring. Um, I've trained myself, and to train, or the people around me that's helped train me. I've just honed in them skills. But it's kind of like I told you, learning, going into things not knowing anything. Giving that open mind of going, hey, what can I improve? But taking it and just putting a little twist on it for me. Not everything just say works, but hey, I stayed on, not getting hit. I stayed on them in and outs. I knew that with these boxer guys, that was the kind of thing. Hey, get in, get low, get down. Keep them, keep that chin tucked down, keep that head down. I work a lot of the neck. I know, hey, giftedly, I can take it. I can take a hit. It's funny, my coaches be like, hey, we're trying not to get it. That is the point, but I, I also do know that, and everybody kind of in my camp or in my team knows it's like you're just different. We know, I know that there's going to be some blood, and it's probably going to be mine. I'm not saying, hey, I'm trying to take them hits, because I very much have gotten a lot more careful, especially in the bare knuckle. Even with Sonny, man, look, there was a point, I think, in our third or so exchange when I first kind of got him up against that cage. I was down low. He kind of had me in kind of like an overhook, right? Well, I knew then. I'd look down, had that pause, and I'm just sitting there leaking. So my mindset, I just kind of said, all right, get that level, a little bit more pressure, a little bit more, just a little bit more. We got to get a little bit more. I actually thought we were later in the round. I didn't really think that we were 49 seconds in, which that is quick, but honestly, it seemed a lot longer. Of course, with the fast pace and then the movement was so quick. But after that initial break, I was like, I told the doc, I said that was the first person I thought about, and respectively, I was like, hey man, this can't end this way, and I wasn't going to allow it. So I'd kind of already started seeing the transition in him, coming, with me working, especially working the body. I said, hey, I need to open this guy up a little bit more. And upon doing that, when I was tracking him, I kind of started seeing the hands kind of come open and go. So, and it was just basic, man. It was something we worked on, the jab, but following it up. And when I followed it up after the first, the last of the four, the two combos was the 1-2, 1-2, of course. And that was something we kind of worked in, was following that up. Boom, boom, even if it was a double two, double one, but follow that up with something. So when I seen that, boom, bam, and I just knew I barely clipped him. Coming forward, keeping that pace, I just got that much a little closer. And of course, that's what sealed the deal with the last right hand. And when I sealed it, I was like, that was it. That was it. Game well played.
When that landed, it was like that was just perfectly in there, and you could see it in your body. As soon as that landed, you could see it, like you were ready to go if he survived it, but you could tell you just knew he was not answering that.
Yeah, I mean,
to his,
as well as he folded, I folded. I mean, it was just boom, bam. I mean, and it was just that pure dynamic of just going, just going for it, putting it all in there. And I knew it was hard, man. I do respect it. I know I hit really hard, probably, I would say, probably on up there with a lot of them guys. I mean, shit, when you sparring all these damn heavyweights, these big guys, like I do learn how to take a couple of punches, but I do learn how to give them too. So, going with using that skill set of all the different kind of aspects I've been, yeah, man, I knew that was it. And of course I did know, it's like, even with the 10 count, it's like, I knew I still had time too. I was like, oh, this is gonna be bad, So I kind of also know in my mind, hey, it ain't over till it's over. Until it's done, it's done. Light switch goes off.
Yeah. You mentioned that smaller ring. Did you know it was going to be the smaller ring?
Yeah. So, well, I didn't. I mean, going into it, I knew they previously used the 16-foot in their debut or the fight before that in the Prospect Series, which I was asked before on another podcast. Hey, what do I think? Honestly, man, hey, it's great.
It's great.
It's really good
for your style, man.
Yeah, it's really great. It is great. Great for pressure. Great for that. But I do like, because I don't. It's not going to be. It's not going to be the go-to ring. Just to clear that up with everybody. We still have our regular ring, but what I do like about it, in a good opinion, is so guys with less structure, less experience levels, right? Well, you are putting them into that closer quarter, so there's not like a lot of movement, but it really is. I mean, depending on how someone is fighting the other person. I mean, if you were to really just keep it clean and you went to a boxer standpoint, I mean, it'd be cool. I mean, you'd be boxing a lot of that mid close range, but I mean, you do still have a significant amount of room to move in. But I think it's great to start on that Prospect Series, because then what you do is you give these guys a level, say, playing field to play on. You get it a little bit tighter, so when they graduate and they get that better experience, well, it opens them up to another kind of dimension. I really believe that. You will see. I'm not gonna say it would cause any more problems, but in a higher level, let's just say that you're bumping up to that next level. Well, now you got a bigger arena. Now you really have to be fundamentally sound and really soak it up like a sponge, because some people are gonna have to learn how to fight in a bigger ring and a smaller ring on both ends. It works both ways.
Yeah. And one thing I think is like really cool about BKFC right now is that we have fighters on both ends of the spectrum. We have folks like you, been around, knows what's going on, done some different combat sports, and now we have some folks coming in very early in their careers who are
nothing. That's all they know is bare knuckle.
Yeah. And we have that ability to change things up with that ring getting smaller. And the first time I seen that smaller ring, I think the verbiage I use, I think it's as intimate as a fist fight in a phone booth, and like it's that small, that 16-foot ring. Like there's not, it's going to force the action. And I think maybe some of these folks who are just coming in to bare knuckle, these athletes who are testing the waters to see if this is for them, I think you're going to find out very quickly if this type of combat sport is for you as an athlete, because you're getting hit. Like
Yeah,
it's
well,
not.
and so now you got two things there too. Not only what you're saying, but you got the 2 minutes. I mean, so you're I'm not gonna say you're forcing it, but that you're giving someone a pace. And in that pace, now you shorten up the ring. Now I believe it dictates the mindset for some people to go, oh, this is what it is. But I'm really big on this. It's not sloppy. Okay,
It is
this
not.
is not. People think that it's a fist fight, but it's not a street fight. You're not street fighting. I mean, a street fight is a street fight. A bare knuckle boxing fight is a bare knuckle boxing fight. There is a technique to there. There is a skill set to this. It's not just two people. Even some people you see just two people just swinging. Hey, man, when you start the level changing of getting it better, or seeking that higher level of getting in that top 10, getting in that top 5, getting in that title run. Oh, buddy, all that changes. All that changes to guys like me. So it's not it's very very technical. It is a technical bout used with a very unique skill set.
Yeah, you see, and I agree with you 100%. Some folks out there maybe aren't educated on bare knuckle boxing, and they see it and they have that prejudgment, as people had early days of MMA. Oh, it's a street fight. It's two guys who aren't skilled. Blah blah. I tell people, watch guys like you, watch guys like Redneck Mundell, watch Austin Trout, and you're gonna watch a clinic on bare knuckle boxing.
For
It's
sure.
strategic.
And them guys know, because we're still evolving. There's still it's going like this, right? So, but even in skill sets, you learn how to punch different. Your timing's different. Your power techniques are different. The way you pick them different shots, because in this game, um, I mean, I don't know how many people would say, "Hey, I throw on 100%." Maybe on certain punches, but it's really not that way. It's strategically enough to where your skill set gets better. The more fights you have, you're going to learn. Kind of like fuck around and find out. You will find out very quickly in this. I mean, your hands, how important your hands are, how important the blocking is. I mean, there's a lot of different aspects when you take them gloves, or even the smaller gloves. You take a 4-ounce glove, I mean, the resistance on the glove, your hands still are that much bigger with a 4-ounce glove. Now you're taking all that away. But a lot of people don't know this, and for people that are watching, it is safer. I always constantly have to remind people, like, hey, no, I mean, yeah, you take a guy, man, I hit hard. I'm gonna hit you hard. That's not gonna feel, but not everybody who say possesses that power of that one hitter quitter, or that power in being designed, say physically, bone structurally. Everybody's different, so the amount of percentages you put on that punch significantly is across the board different for everybody. And that's going back into the technique. That's going back into people that don't have the knowledge of going, hey, no, this is very different. Of course, it's different, but the training and all of it, it's not just going out there and boxing. Austin Trout's let's just bring him as his name up. I mean, he's a world champion boxer, but I promise you, he's changed his skills to significantly
Yeah,
design it for bare knuckle boxing. You
and
can't go in there and just start cracking loose. I mean, you break your hands, you mess these up, you're done.
that's what he said. I've had him on a couple of times and talked to him, and before his fight with Diego, he said, it's different. He said, boxing, it's in my blood, it's in my DNA, it's what I do. He said, but bare knuckle is not boxing.
No,
It's the root of boxing, but it's different. He said, I gotta look and be very strategic about my body shots. It's judging how I'm gonna headhunt.
yeah,
You can't just throw blindly and hope to connect with the head, because if you do and you overcommitted and you win 100% and you break your hand, that could be a deal breaker. You're done.
Yeah, and so then going into the sport of bare knuckle, that's why it's so unique. Uh, but it's also not as brutal as everybody thinks. They have done the studies on the amount of damage taken, and I get it. So this is like when I tell people, hey, boxers and fighters, your hands are interlaced. They're gauzed up. I mean, your hands are like bricks.
Yeah,
So you're taking that. Now I can hit the 90% into the 100 percentile of every punch. Here, your percent of that is a lot lower. So the brain, I say the brain, or the damage that you're taking or inflicting, it is different on bone contact for sure, but you're not significantly taking the blows that you are wise, power
yeah,
wise. So, but you do have to be durable in some of this too. And it's kind of like, hey, so either you got it or you don't, and that goes in skill setting. Some guys' skills they got it. They might not have the chin for it, but that's okay. They get by. They know how to deflect the punches. Da, da, da. That's skill. That's a fighting skill. Me, just say I mix it all up. I know I'm durable. I know I can take a shot, but you still don't want to take them shots. But it's just it's another different style of fighting.
yeah. It's definitely BKFC to me is growing so fast because it's very relatable to people and it's so exciting. You guys who are stepping in there with the entertainment value of the excitement that we're seeing in those shorter rounds. You guys are starting off dead center of the ring, what, 32 inches
3 foot.
apart.
So the scratch lines are three, and big ring, small. That don't change. 3 foot, 3 foot apart.
And it's whenever there's knuckle up, you got to knuckle up because it's time to go. Like you're not, there's no feeling out process. You're within striking distance, so it's
Yeah,
time to go.
that's it. And then when you step on the gas, sometimes there's not a lot of brake involved.
That's for sure. Um, stepping on the gas, there's one thing that I definitely wanted to ask you about tonight in this interview. Checking out your Instagram, see you on there with the ruck bag out there doing the hills, 8+ miles. Two questions about it. How
Yes.
much weight you got in that bag? And what is going through your mind on those rucks? Like, what are you thinking about? Because that would kick my ass.
Yeah, so I'm usually rocking 80 to 85 pounds. I think that when I weigh is usually about 85 pounds. I try to stick. I used to just start out with 50 straight out to go, even when I'm rucking. But as I know how to set myself or whatever, I'm usually in that, and I will go more. I kind of bring that. It's just something we used to do in Ranger after I got out of the military because I knew what it built. It kind of, in going through that, I put myself in them positions for me. It's like, hey, man, I gotta have this mentally because focus wise, I'm putting myself in places that maybe I don't even want to be there. Straight up, let's just say that. I know it's gonna hurt. I know it's gonna suck. But I got to remind myself as I'm rucking into that 8 miles or however long I decide to go is, this is the fight, but this is deep into the fight. It starts off pretty easy. I get going, but the further I go, hey, is my mind going to slip? Do I still want this? Am I still going to be competitive enough to reach the other end? So it's a self inner thing for me, a mindset to push myself individually. So I mean, and that's hard. I mean, you waking up in the morning, just saying, man, I'm about to go get this. Where are you gonna go, man? I literally go in town. It's just giving yourself a choice. Okay, so it's kind of like going back into the industry. I got to where I was because I didn't give myself any other choice. I had choices. Everybody has a choice. You have a decision every day. What are you going to do? So, going through some of the hardships in my life, I just gave myself no choice. So, me giving myself sometimes that choice of, man, this is it. I mean, once I go, there's no turning around and going back to the car. I have to make it to the home front. I've got to make it they're there, because if I don't, I'm stranded. I'm just going to leave myself on the side of the road. So it's almost kind of like, you got to, like I said, you got to police yourself up. So going into that intestinal fortitude, that's really how I build my brand. That's me. That's me versus me, of going, kind of going in the fire, man. I do put myself there to dictate how far I want to go. I'm still durable enough. I know I can do this, because trust me, at the end of that, it sucks. I mean,
I
if
can
I had
only
if I
imagine.
had a film crew, I mean, you getting into that. Man, it ain't but 2 miles to the house. I got 1 mile left or half a mile left. That's the most grueling. The grueling part is knowing that you're almost there, and then when you turn around, it's kind of like I said, man. I've been this way in my life where I've had these people beside me, or thought beside me or behind me, around me. But at the end, when I really turn around and I look around, I check myself left and right, I am the last man standing. I am the only son of a bitch here. And who's going to get you that far? You do. So that's really what's going through my mind when I put myself in the positions is, hey, man, there are battles and there are times in your life where there's not going to be anybody around. And that's okay, because I'm not going to leave myself stranded.
I love that mentality.
Yeah.
That's tell you what. There there's foothills up. I might have to get myself a ruck bag, and I ain't gonna make 8 miles with 85 pounds on my back. I know that for sure. But that
And man,
mindset's
and it is, and I've built that, and that's something that I build. Hey, some you got to put yourself out there to really dictate sometimes, because man, I can make it easy. I can go, oh man, I had a good workout. Did I really? I didn't, because I didn't push myself, and people know that. When it's not enough, and then hear people say it all the time. It's kind of like going, doing the things that you do when you don't really want to do them. That's usually your best outcome. Man, who wants to get up and 4:30, 5 o'clock in the morning to do it? But I do, because a lot of times it has nothing, don't have anything to do sometimes necessarily with the fight, man. That's the way I just live my life. You get up in the morning, man. It's just a dog eat dog world, man. I get out there, I'm gonna get it. If I don't, someone else will. I've always thought that way, and I just know that if you push yourself through it, and you can get through whatever hard time you are, self taught mentality is very unique. It's very unique, and but you have to be very disciplined to yourself. And like I said, I keep going back to that, because when the dust fucking settles, sometimes you might be the only soldier standing there. And who's going to carry the fucking flag for? It sure ain't going to be the man behind you, because he ain't behind you. You look to your left and right, that son of a bitch might not be standing there. Sometimes you might just have to pick the damn flag up yourself, and march it through hell and beyond. But if you put yourself through that, and you can make it through that, the willingness, the honor, the integrity that you have for your own self. If you can't do it for yourself, how the hell are you gonna do it for anybody else?
yeah. Man, that level of self discipline and that mentality is. I mean, it shows throughout your career of your ability to bet on you and count on you to get through things. Like that's just incredible.
Yeah, man, and I wear it. You got to wear it on the sleeve. You do. Sometimes you got to wear that chip on your shoulder. It's not that I walk around with it, but I know it's there. And sometimes it is about carrying the weight of others, whether that has nothing to do with fighting. Everyday life. Sometimes I say, man, there's a lot of people need to share my rigs. And that's okay. I'm willing to give that. And I've had a lot of load bearing on me. I ain't gonna lie, shit. It's like that rucksack, man. Sometimes you might just have to add a little bit of weight. But I mean, if I got to carry my man over here and help him out, and that's helping me. At the end of the day, hey, God built me a little different. So pack that rucksack, man. Bite down on your mouthpiece, and just kind of figure it out on the way. And sometimes that's what it takes. You just got to kind of bite down a little bit harder than you did last, and get through it. And because then at the end of the day, when you get through it, sometimes you might surprise yourself.
Yeah, that's for sure, man. I think one thing we certainly established in this interview is that big rig shirt needs to have "God built me different" on the back of it. That's for sure.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt.
I think that's the one to have made, man. Anybody you need to give a shout out to? Any sponsors, anything like that? You're open to shout out whoever you want.
Yeah,
No
man.
issues here.
I finally, I got that luggage in. That's one of my shirts. So, everybody knows, all my sponsors, man. My new management team, Jackson Wink. Them guys, our new sign BKFC, 601 Sports. Keys Recycling, Dave's Custom Meats, my boy Triple C over in California, Tommy Kelly, Empire, Patriot Motorsports, Fit Chef, Lions Arm, DNW Service, all these guys, man, anybody from Vicksburg, I got a lot of followers here, my community, I'm big on just trying to give back something. Like I said, you've heard me say it, man. Somebody once gave me a chance, man. Sometimes I'm arms wide open. I like to give them chances back. The universe has been really good to me, and I seek to be that better person every day. Guys like you, I always say big shout out. Because y'all set the example of the format to let someone like me share a little bit, even if it's just a little bit of my life, a little bit of what I do. Man, I think my mom, my dad, my wife, my kids, they play a big role in my life of pushing that mental spirit of carrying it on, carrying that last name forward, man, just kind of, picking that flag up and sticking it in the ground where I've been. My team, everybody knows anybody's trained with me, man. I had a guy, I mean, really like to say from the other place here at Kill, could he hit me up, hey man, you know, hope you remember me. And I said, hell yeah, I remember you. I remember all you guys. You guys are what got me here, and we all share this win together. This wasn't my win. This was everybody's win. Everybody that helped me, sharpen iron. Big shout out to Sonny Smith, by the way, man. Give credit where credit's due, bro. I had he just as well took a big calling in himself as I did. Everybody, this prospect series, no prospect said, dude's game, man. He's 2-0. Had he was just, like I say, the UK guys, man. The UK guys kind of got it more figured out. I believe, this is what they do every day. That makes sense.
Yeah.
I really have a real high respect over there across the pond for them, man. They do it a little different than us, hell, they in the streets figuring their life out with bare knuckles, you know what I mean? But a big shout out to him and his team, man. They were really just very respectful. The Canadians themselves, holy shit, man, what gratitude I've never felt. It's almost going over there really dictated a big version of my life of what I say, giving back, man, being that, having that Southern hospitality, having that big heart, doing them things that people do when they don't have to do, like the guy,
Yeah.
over there at Clinch, the Clinch shop, the fight shop, man, over there, dude, hooked me up with that gear. Big shout out to him and in that Edmonton print shop up there. Them were people that did something that they didn't have to do. And I told him that. I wrote him an email and said, hey, man, I appreciate doing what you did when you didn't have to do it. I was ready to pay, man. The dude sponsored me. He hooked me up with all my fight gear. Everybody, when I showed up, man, I showed up what the hell I showed up in. I was like, dude, if I got to fight this man, my slippers, this is what we're doing. I never let it get to me. Because it was the humbleness that I experienced of going, it's all good. But big shout to everybody over there because what I did experience was a lot of what I given in my life, and being able to see that given back to me, man, that was awesome, bro. That was awesome. Big shout out to them, like I said, to everybody over there. Once again, Sonny Smith. I told him before we even fought, I shook his hand and said, hey, man, I do realize this opportunity for both sides. I do realize you didn't have to take this. I mean, it was short notice, whatever, and I appreciate that opportunity. because I mean he's a dog, man.
Yeah.
He really is. He's a tough guy. You know, you'll see him. I mean, he's, you know, it's bare knuckle, man. That's how it happens. One shot can dictate a fight on both ends. Uh, he was a very unique win for in my career, but very humbling in that of being very appreciative in the full spectrum of the sport.
Yeah, for sure. Thanks. Sonny's a guy we will see back. I'm very excited to see you back in the square circle again. I'm glad to see you got your gear back. I'm glad to
Yeah,
see you're healthy. You know, cuts healing. You're good there. I think you got a timeline for the next one.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Hell yeah, yeah. You know, I'm gonna look wide open, bro. I think here. So the next fight, you talking about my next fight? What
Yeah.
I have? Yeah. So what I think we're gonna line up is, I'll so I I'm back in the gym, man. Like literally, I got home that Monday morning, probably 2, 3 o'clock. Slept in just a little bit, man. Monday till all the way to today. Matter of fact, yesterday was my only day off, and I think it was just fine. Everything finally, oh shit, the whole coming back home, everything really caught up to me, dude. Yesterday I was just like, oh shit, I'm dead. But I'm back in the gym. I'll probably, 30 days, the biggest thing going with bare knuckle is the cuts, the lacerations, I do understand that, like I said, I'll probably be another 30 days. So, man, I'm easy to say maybe the end of April, May, something like that. I'm really gonna
Awesome.
stay on the gas. That's the key. Um, of course, I take time here with my family and do things here with what I got going on. I got a couple of businesses that I run, here at the house. I'm always outside doing something. I stay everything I do. I almost like I dictate as a workout. I don't care if I'm out there cutting grass, bro. Get a damn weed in. I'm over here moving, trying to get something in. Remember my moves. So, but definitely, the comeback is real. It really is. Now it's really time to solidify my journey and put a stamp on my legacy to really climb that ladder
That's
and just be,
awesome, man.
yeah, man, one
I'm
of the best
excited to
in
see
the
what's
UFC.
next for you.
Thank you.
You definitely tons of support from all of us here. Very thankful for you joining us tonight. I definitely appreciate it. Love your mindset, man. I think there's a lot for people to take from that and inspire some younger athletes getting started in any sport, not just combat sports or whatever it is they're working on in life. Just that mindset of betting on you and counting on yourself is, I think, it's taken you far, and I think it helps some other folks too.
Yeah, no doubt, man. And you got to, man. Sometimes when you got to look at life in a different spectrum, man. Sometimes when you're down in them trenches, it's for a reason. Sometimes you got to just tell yourself, good for me. Damn, that ain't good, but no, it is. Figure it out. You got to, sometimes some of the biggest things in life are the struggles. Hey, and sometimes you might have just asked for it. Sometimes when you send them prayers upstairs for something better, it might be a little test on really how bad you really want something. And I believe that, you just can't say for forgiveness and think it's just gonna come cheap. Hey, the price of being cool ain't cheap. Don't ever forget that.
And that's the line to end it on.
That's it.
Big Rig, thank you for joining me tonight. I hope to have you back on ahead of that next fight. Everyone, make sure you check out Jeremiah Big Rig Riggs on Instagram, on Facebook. Where else can they find you at, sir?
Man, that's really about to be it. Just in your hometown store, wherever. I'm in there just supporting all the local people and doing what I do. I always tell anybody you see me, come say what's up to me, man. I'm a cool cat. I love taking my time for others, man. I think that's what it's all about in this world. Giving up some time, doing something for the better part of humanity, dude. I think everybody has it in them. Sometimes you just gotta dig a little deeper.
Awesome, sir. Well, thank you for joining us. Thank you, everyone who checked us out live on Instagram. If you're not here with us live on Instagram, thank you for checking us out. Spotify, YouTube, Rumble, wherever it is you found us, we appreciate you checking out. Don't say the F word. We're a pro wrestling combat sports podcast. We don't use the F word when we talk about professional wrestling. don't let your friends use it either. We will be back later on in the week with our weekend wrestling, and who knows what other interviews we may have coming up. Big Rig, thank you, man. Take care of yourself. We'll talk to you again soon.
Yeah, for it, baby. Appreciate you guys. Big
Take
Rig
care.
out.